Hello and welcome back to another episode of Love It or Shove It. This is the show where we are talking about the relationships. How can we make the better relationship among ourselves? And also, we are just tapping to how can we handle our relationships better? And I feel this is the topic that is very relevant to everyone because at one point or another, there is something that we are working on, and this is the perfect time where we can tune in together and just kind of peel the onion in the real time together. And welcome to this talk show. My name is Irina Portnova. I'm all about manifestation. How do we manifest the best partnership that we all can have in our life? And I'm here with my co host, Bruno Gell. Bruno.
Yes. My name's Bruno. I'm your self-love coach. I work primarily with women who want to become more vocal, have more confidence, have more self-love, more self-esteem, and just better their life. Um, Obviously, emotionally, physically, but much more in terms of mindset, and emotionally as well. Yeah. Well, obviously, we build a plan together and we see how far we can take it, right? Depending on what your goal is, right? So yes,
All right, so let's dive in. Today's topic is about safety in love, and it's great because I am going to present the woman's side, and Bruno is going to present the man's side. So, what if most
of course.
relationship problems aren't actually communication problems? What if they are the safety problem? Because when people feel safe, they naturally communicate more openly, they become more vulnerable, they express more love for each other, they handle challenges better. But when safety disappears, something changes. People start holding back, they protect themselves, they overthink, they withdraw emotionally. A woman may stop opening her heart, and a man may stop opening his world. And often, neither person realizes that underneath the frustration, disappointment, or conflict is one simple question: do I feel safe with you? Because today we are talking about what emotional safety actually means for a man and women, and why it may be one of the most important ingredients in a healthy relationship. So let's talk a little bit about why women often need emotional safety before they can fully open. And Bruno, you can add your share on that from man's standpoint. So for many women, emotional safety is the doorway to the deeper connection. So before she can fully trust, fully receive, fully soften, or fully express herself, she often needs to feel secure in the relationship. This doesn't mean that she has to feel the perfect relationship. It just means that she wants the consistency. What would it look like? Many women feel safest when words match actions, when communication feels clear, when there is follow through, when they know where they stand, because uncertainty creates emotional tension. And emotional tension makes it difficult to fully relax in that kind of relationship. For instance, when a man says, I care about you, but plans rarely happen. Communication comes and goes. Promises stay unfinished. Now, the woman not questioning his feelings. She is questioning the stability of that connection. Because most women don't open deeper because of beautiful words. They open deeper because repeated actions create the trust. Bruno, would you like to talk about why men often need respect, trust, and belief to feel safe?
Of course, 100%. So the way I see it, um, a lot of times men love to be respected because, to be fair, how do I explain this? Men love to be respected, and men. I think for men, the way to be cared for is through respect. I think that's the best way to put it. Obviously, women love attention. I believe so. That's the way, obviously, they like to be cared about, right? And then, and then men love respect. And I think a massive way that women can as well show a man respect is just by believing in him and taking him serious. That's all. Like a lot of times I know that there's a lot of men, they talk, 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 like you're saying as well, right? They talk, 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 but then at the end of the day, there's not a lot of work to be shown for the amount that there is for words. You know, there's more words said than work done. There's also other um, times where there is some talk, there is some work, but something happens and you're just not able to push it through as well. Um, and then there's times where it obviously works, right? There's not so many words, there's more actions. And I think actions speak louder than words, anyways, whether if it's for men and women, but me focusing more on the men's side. Obviously life is very hard for men. Men are not that stupid. They're not as the dumbbells that a lot of women think they are. We do know what we're doing, we do know how we're doing it, and we do know when and where and how to do it. However, at the end of the day, I think this is for both genders, but especially for men, it all comes down to priorities, right? And at the end of the day, we all think about ourselves the most. And if the priority for men is this family, he's going to do everything it takes to protect it and provide for it. And if his priority is not his family, well, he's not going to give it as much attention as he should. He's going to give that attention to something else, to someone else, to other priorities, right? Uh, well, and then again, for men, being respected is so much more important than given than just to give the attention, because that's what men want. Men want to be respected, and that's the best way to love a man. The best way to love a man is to show that respect, is to show that, look, I hear you, I understand you. You know, Men don't feel seen enough. Men don't feel noticed. Like there's like a lot of times some people, they're like, oh, men have always had it easy. Men have always had it easy, right? Because they're men and they have all these, like, they have all these advantages and stuff and whatever. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that that's not true. I can understand your point of view. I can understand the way you're seeing it and the way you understand, and the way you say it and why you say that as well. But it's not like men have all these advantages without having to sacrifice anything for them, or having to or having to put no work at all for it. And plus, when people say men, it's not, when people say men, they're saying all men. It's not all men. It's like 2% of men, because most men carry trash for a living. They're not rich, they're not famous, they're not credible, they don't have millions or billions of women who know their name. And no, most men live a very silent, depressing life. They end up falling into a life they cannot get out of. And that's the thing. And they just end up not being even taken serious. And they're alone. And you know, for example, like, um, most suicides in the world happen in men, and you know, most, yeah, like there's more men killing themselves than women, right? Like, with that said, because of that, right, it can't be that easy for most men, because then that rate wouldn't be true. And I just feel that most of those men, they don't feel respected, and they also, like, don't respect themselves. which is a shame because men deserve that respect. Like, I mean, honestly, if you're a fucking piece of shit, you don't deserve a fucking thing in your life. But if you're a good person and you're a good man and you work for yourself and you provide for yourself, I mean, most men, they don't even like. It's like women, right? Women don't open up with men. They don't expect men to understand, so they go to their friends, right? And men don't open up with women because they don't expect them to understand. They go to their friends. But the difference between men with their friends and women with their friends is that men don't open up about their things with their friends because that's not, men don't do that. They don't, a lot of times they don't do that. Women with each other, they're easier to be more vulnerable, but men with each other, they're not as vulnerable. That's not the connection. It's the connection. It's a connection of physicality. It's a connection of we're gonna have fun and hang out and this and that, and we're gonna do some stupid shit. Women with each other, they have no problem. They probably will spend hours and hours and hours talking about it just for the sake of talking about it. But men are not like that, you know. And the reason behind all the suicides that happen behind men is because they don't open up about their feelings, and they don't open up so much that they generally believe nobody gives a shit. And in a certain way, nobody literally cares about men. Like, not a lot of people do care because they're just expected to perform and do this and do that, and they just end up falling into this loop of loneliness and depression and frustration and sadness, and the respect is never there. So that's why I believe as well that men just want to be respected for. I do know one thing, and this happened to me as well. um I do know that men when men have people who believe in them, they will walk through fire. They will walk on glass. They will do anything it takes to protect and conserve, and they'll sacrifice and they'll do all the possibles and the impossibles to not disappoint the people who believe in them, because we know just how just how small those people are, right? So that's just what it is, you know and yeah, I think that's why men prefer respect, because it's something so rare.
Can
So
I
yeah.
add? This is my point of view. First of all, I
Yeah.
don't see that for women it's easier. We got our period, we can
Mm.
get pregnant, we can be left with that
Oh yeah.
baby, we can be left
Yeah.
without finances, because if a woman depends on man, then she is
Yeah. Yeah.
actually losing everything, right? So just saying that
Mm.
women get it easier, I think it's very subjective, because I believe that, yes, I agree, men are suffering, and I agree that a lot of these suicides
Yes.
happen because of the emotional closeness, because we in the culture was never taught us that it's okay for him to express his feelings.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that might be one of the reasons, but the point that it's easy for women, no, I would never say that it's easy for women. It just, there is that inner power that a lot of women have, that there is such
Mm.
a thing as, whether we like it or not, we push through, especially when we
Mm.
have children, because now it's
Mm-hmm.
not about just our life, it's about the life of the
Of
kids,
course.
right? And
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
another thing is also to put into perspective about, like you said, celebrities. There are a lot of celebrities who are miserable. So money and success
100%.
does not define the happiness, right? Somebody who
Yeah.
might be just the average person, but who really knows how to stay in partnership, in the connection, could be so much
Mm-hmm.
happier and so much more valuable
Mm-hmm.
than somebody who is well known and doesn't know how to hold himself properly. So again, it
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
there are different scenarios and different situations, and everything kind of applies individually. But
Mhm.
a lot of times it's just because a woman holds so many responsibilities. She holds the responsibility for herself, for the kids. Then she is expected to cook, to maintain the house. She's expected to work. So too many responsibilities, and that's why it, like, we carry most of the load, because for many men it just kind of showing up at work, make the living, and that's it. So now that's why we are
Mhm.
having the conversation, because it's more than that, right? Partnership is more than that. It just like really
Mhm.
talking about the true connection. True connection, when
Yeah,
people
of
can
course.
have these conversations, right? When people feel heard. And that's exactly when we are talking about what does it mean to create the safety. That means to really listen when the woman is
Mhm.
saying something, and not just kind of saying, okay, I'm
Mhm.
just going to choose me. Because partnership is never about me, partnership is about us. And when the person doesn't even say these things, when the person is constantly I, that already shows that it's not saying that the person is bad, it just shows that the person is not ready. Because when we talk about
Mhm.
connection, when we talk about partnership, it's always about we.
Mhm.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about why actions create safety faster than words.
I I also have something to add, to be fair.
Yeah, of course.
I kind of got like I also have like 3 points. First, I didn't
Mm-hmm,
say that women were weaker, and I also
mm-hmm,
didn't say that women had it easy. You're putting
mm-hmm,
words in my mouth. I didn't say that. And then number two, you said that women have it hard, right? Women have all these responsibilities. Well, so do men. Men also have loads of responsibilities. Both of them do, right? So in that case, it's the same thing, right? And then number three, um, well, you said that like men, you said that men, they have it easier because they just have to go to work and do it.
mm-hmm,
But you know, I honestly don't see majority of women choosing to go break. I wouldn't say break, but go build houses. I don't see majority of women wanting to carry trash and smelling shit and like shit every single day. No, they want the men to do that, right? And so if it's hard for women, it's hard for men as well, right? So it's not just like they just have to go out there and make their living. It's how they're making their living as well. And this takes me then again back to the point of like 98% of men, they work a hard job that women don't want to do and women won't do and women just won't do. Majority of women, right? And the women that are doing it, they also don't want to do it as well. And if they could have a man who did it, they would do it, right? And so then again, it's not all just go. They just have to go out there and make a living. It's like if me as a man, I would rather cook and clean the house than go smell like shit every single day because I'm carrying trash. Even me as a man, I would rather do that. So it's not if me as a man, I'd rather do that, but I'm a man and I can't. There's no way this is a conversation of like. There's no way this is a conversation of they just have to go out there and make their living. It's not no because most of them are not sitting in an office. Most of them are not celebrities. Most of them don't have millions of dollars. No, they have to go out there do the jobs women don't want to do. Majority of women don't want to do. Majority, right? And they're doing the tough jobs, and then they be at home. They don't have time even to relax. They don't have time for fucking nothing, right? And then that's it. And you can also argue that you can also say that women also don't have time for most things, but both of them don't have time for anything, and it's people's choices, right? So then again, this is not about they just have to go out there and make their living. No, this is about as a man myself, and I'm speaking for myself now. I would rather cook, clean, do whatever at home than having to go and smell like shit every single day, or even sitting in an office. Because I'd be home, I'd be having the best life. I wouldn't do shit. I'd cook and clean, and I wouldn't do shit. And then I'd like wash my clothes and I take care of the garden, or I'd find something to distract myself. I wouldn't do a fucking thing other than that. Nothing. I wouldn't do shit,
Well,
literally. But no, like
you
we
haven't had
literally,
the life in the family. It's different when you're living by yourself and you just have to take care of by yourself. When you have the family to take care of, it's not just like
yeah.
clean and cook. It's like a 24/7 job. And I said I'd rather have two jobs than doing the household job. Household job is the most like unappreciative, and it's never ending. So that's what I wanted to add to that point. But again, we all can have our
No,
opinion,
that's
and
right.
it's
I
totally
mean, but
fine.
to be fair, but to be fair, like to be fair, like at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, like how do I say this? At the end of the day, like you. For example, now you said like um when you have the family and you gotta work the job and stuff. Nah, 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 nah. Okay, fine, 100%. But that's more on a when you live on your own type of point. But I'm not talking about people who live on their own. I'm talking about people who live together. I'm talking about people who make that choice, right? Because that's the whole point. And even you said yourself, you said we. It's not about I. It's about we, right? And that's what I'm doing. I'm talking
Exactly.
about we,
So when
right?
people have the family together,
So
there are a lot of responsibilities that share together. There is no such a thing. I'm tired. I'm not gonna do that, and expect the woman to take it. This is also not right. Basically, people worked
no,
together,
of
and
course, I'm not saying
relationship is,
otherwise. I
yes.
agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. But what I'm also saying is that I agree. But what I'm also saying is, what I'm also saying is, imagine if the man, if that's that way, then imagine if the man said, you know what, I don't want to go to work today, so I don't give a shit. Whatever, doesn't matter. It doesn't work like that. We got to do our responsibilities, right? There's no point in debating who has it the hardest because it's hard for both. And people don't go into marriage not believing it's not hard for both. No, they know it's gonna be fucking shit. They know it's gonna be fucking miserable, but at least we're together and we're together, we're not alone. That's the whole point. We're gonna make this work together. It's gonna be fucking shit, it's gonna be fucking miserable, right? We're gonna have
I
some
don't
good
look
times, we're
at
gonna
this
have some
way.
bad
In
times, but
my
that's kind of what it
partnership,
is.
it's not miserable. If you already say it's miserable, then you are
No,
going to experience that. No, we are talking about when
no,
two
but what
people
I'm
are
saying, I'm
together.
not saying it for myself. I'm not saying it's for myself. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
for
so
myself. I'm
don't
not
use
saying that's
these
how it's gonna
words.
be for me. I'm saying
So
I'm
don't use
saying
these
I'm not
words.
saying that
It
it's for
doesn't
me.
have
I'm
to be
saying
miserable. It doesn't
no,
have
but I'm
to
not
be
saying
bad.
but I'm not saying that it is for me. But I'm not saying that it is for me. What I'm saying is for me. What I'm saying is I'm talking in general. I'm talking in general. I'm talking in general. And to be fair, we don't have more rich people in the world than we have poor or middle class people. To be fair, we actually have more of the others, right? And life for most people, for a lot of people, is hard. That's just what it is. Simple. That's it. You know. On a we
Okay.
matter, like on a we kind of like thing. Yeah, of course.
All right. Let's move to the
Yeah.
point
But
talking
yeah, next
about
point.
why.
Next point. Next point.
The point is why actions create safety faster than words. Because at the beginning of the relationship, words carry a lot of weight. But over the time, relationships start listening to behavior. Because eventually, promises is not enough, intentions are not enough, feelings are not enough, and people start actually watching the patterns. And what really, really is significant is when someone says, "You are important to me," but do they actually make time? Do they follow through? Do they stay present? Do they keep their words? That's exactly where the trust builds. So, a man who promises a weekend getaway, months pass, nothing happens. Now it's no longer about the trip, it's about whether actions support the words. And the same applies to emotional promises. When the person says, "I'm here for you," can the relationship actually feel it? because trust growth through repetition, not through just occasional declaration, right? We are not doing something because we are in the mood to do that if we say our words do match our actions, and that's exactly where the safety shows up in our life. So again, it's not everybody can even talk beautifully, but some people can. And if they don't prove that with the actions, with the time, it just, like that trust starts fades, because it just, like it comes to the point where person realizes that, the other person is just promises, but they do not actually deliver. Bruno, I want to say
Yeah.
something.
Yep. So I'm gonna make, I'm gonna have to go because I don't, I'm gonna have to go after this. So I'll take maybe like the stage maybe for like 2 or 3 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll go. But I do agree. I agree 100%. 100%. I agree. I had a lot of people in my life before who were like that. They said a lot of things and they didn't really keep up with it. Um, but they never really tried their hardest. They never really, they didn't even fucking try, pretty much. I've had that happen to me as well, obviously in my life, recently as well, of course. And but I did try. I tried my way. Obviously, you know, you come to the conclusion that it was never meant to happen. Um, and you come to the conclusion that you have to forgive yourself for not knowing better. It was never meant to happen because if it was meant to happen, it would have happened sooner. Um, and that's what it is, and that's just what it is. And for me, it's something that I'm at peace with. Um, Again, I forgave myself for not knowing better. I'm at peace with that. I am completely fine with the fact that we're always learning, even when we think that we know enough. Um, and I think every single person should forgive themselves as well for not knowing better, for trying hard and still not being able to make it work. Like all these bullshit videos people see online on Instagram and TikTok. Oh, we were this and we were that, and it was so tough, but we managed to make it work. That's a very few percentage of people who actually manage to do that. That's not like everyone, without a shadow of a doubt. Um, and and that's just what it is. And for me, it's very simple. Whatever didn't work wasn't supposed to work because there's something way better waiting for me. I am 100% right about that. Nobody can ever make me believe there isn't. There's a better house, a better life, or a better job, or a better relationship, or more money, or better money, or easier money, like more efficient, but loads of it. I mean, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm never gonna believe that there's nothing better waiting for me and that I cannot learn from my mistakes, and that next time if the same situation comes around, that I cannot do it this time, because I can, because I'm smart enough to do that. And I think everybody should have that level of confidence. I think everybody should have that level of energy where they fully and wholly believe that whatever did not work out for them, whatever they weren't meant or able, whatever they weren't able to truly make work, that if a next time comes they can, or um they can just forgive themselves and move on from it, and recenter their energy to what really matters, and focus on the next goals and focus on the next steps for their life. Because that's what it is. You can't stop. There's no stopping here. There's no stopping. There's no point in stopping. It's just, you just keep going. You keep moving. You have a lot of life to live. Whatever you achieved, whatever you didn't, you have a lot of life to live. You have a lot of things to make happen, to work. People will either be a lesson in a disappointment, or people will be a blessing and a friend. So yeah, I think yeah, and
Okay.
ultimately be very grateful that you can wake up every single day and just learn from it. You know.
Yeah, it's important to learn from it because a lot of times people are repeating the same mistakes because they do not see their
100%.
patterns. And it's
Facts.
very important to acknowledge and to ask yourself, what did I do wrong in that situation that it
Yep.
caused that outcome?
100%.
Again, in any given situation, two people become the reason of it. And there is no such a thing that that one person was guilty of
Yep.
what the outcome was. There are always two people, there are always two
Mm-hmm.
actions, there are always two ways of looking
Yep.
at the situation. And again, it's just to ask yourself,
Mm-hmm.
what would I learn from that experience and how can I show up better next time so I do not repeat the same mistakes. And
A hundred percent.
I just wanted to conclude that a woman often opens through emotional safety, and a healthy man often rises through emotional trust. And when both people feel safe, love stops feeling like something they have to protect and starts feeling like a place they can finally call home. All right. Thank you so
Mm-hmm.
much. And if this episode actually stirs something in you, please share it with somebody who might be willing to listen to that because we are all on our own journey. But I truly believe in great relationship. And if you are the person who believe in great relationship, just do not settle for anything less than that because that
Mm-hmm.
partner that you are seeking is always out there. You just have to know what you want and do not believe anything else. All right. Thank you so, so much. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.